Hello, this is my fourth recording, and moving into the summary of in real life versus real life, spelled differently for the pun. Most people get their perceptions of disaster from the media, and that's because they have not experienced disasters firsthand. So these media sources form their perceptions of risks as well as what disasters are. And 5 common myths portrayed in the media as well as a lot of movies is myth one: they like to focus on small area disasters rather than entire planet disasters because small area disasters have the human element to get more clicks, more views, instead of focusing on entire planet disasters like global warming. Myth two: they focus on large severity events rather than a lot of small events, when in actuality the small events can cause equal or more damage. Myth three: they like to focus on the loss of life statistic or injured statistic, when that's not a very good indication of severity because both those numbers can vary depending on area, preparedness, a lot of different factors. Myth 4: humans are powerless in the face of disaster. And then myth 5: sometimes technology and engineering can not completely prevent a disaster. There's no end-all be-all solution. It wasn't a failure of technology that this happened because that the disaster happened. But moving into the disasters and their consequences reading, the largest consequence of these myths is if organizations and governmental political responses are influenced by these myths, like in Katrina. It has largely been correlated to the media's coverage of it, constructing negative images of residents, particularly African American and the poor. And in the media, Katrina, it was stated that looting was highly unlikely, but the media said that the National Guard came in to stop it, when in actuality it wasn't very likely it was going to happen. And the media can also focus on Americans rather than the actual residents that it's affecting. Two disasters can be portrayed differently in the media based on how it affected Americans, which is really sad. An example in the reading was there was a lot of Americans vacationing in one area, and that got all the coverage because it affected those Americans. And another disaster of equal severity got almost no attention because it didn't affect us at all. The confusing part I had with the reading was not really about the reading, but about people and why do people take the media so seriously. I take it with a grain of salt. I understand how political it is, and that's why I almost never go on social media on my phone, and very much try to stay away from the news. And then that leads kind of into my question for the week. How can we consume media and be mindful of the perceptions and myths being portrayed? And then as well, what is your go-to media source that you use? Thank you.